The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
The market today and keep that youthful exuberance and fine lines and bags from underneath your eyes at calderalab.com. Dave came through the wire yesterday, big day in sports actually. Austin Matthews, Toronto Maple Leafs, probably one of their best players in the history of their franchise, top five anyways. He signed himself a huge payday extension, $13.25 million. Think how ridiculous that sounds. We're talking about $13.25 for one of the best players in the National Hockey League. And we're talking about one guy getting 50 for 1 year. So it's just hockey and it's just funny how that comes out. It's just funny. But anyways, Matthews got 13 and a quarter for $53 million for the next 4 years of his services being a Toronto Maple Leaf. Dave, has that pretty much put a nail in the coffin for the Leafs Stanley Cup hopes for the next 4 years as well, compared to like the last 40 years, that's or 45, 50 years, whatever it's been?
I don't really know, because you know what? I think that money is better spent on him than whatever they're paying Tavares. What, 10 and a half, 12?
Yeah, he's got 2 years left at that, I think, 3 or 4.
Yeah, and Austin Matthews is clearly one of the super studs of the league. Like he's shown it on the score sheet. He playoffs, whatever, you know, it's the Leafs. At least they won a year around this year. So I'm not gonna you can't really sign a guy on a contract just for their playoff performance or non-performance. And like that San Diego fan that came down on us for ripping on Justin Herbert's contract, right? I understand how you have to reset the market, and next year the cap's going to go up. He's the highest paid player now, and Nathan McKinnon's the next. I would rather have Nathan McKinnon than him, but who else would you rather have than Austin Matthews right now? Like
Connor McDavid.
Well, but like he's already signed. Like but I hear what you're saying, but Connor signed his like 4 years ago, and he's like the third highest paid player now.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to read this. I understand how you have to pay players like that much.
Well, and that's where I was going with this, Dave. You walked right into it for me without me having to fucking leading a horse to water. You can't make him drink sometimes, but like you always hear about this. Well, that's what the market is. That's the going rate. For what? Like, for what's the going rate? What is the going rate? You tell me what the going rate is. Like you brought up McKinnon. That should be the going rate. McKinnon has won a Stanley Cup. Because that's what you're trying to do. As an owner, that is what you're trying to do. As a GM, that's what you're trying to do. This going rate and this market value thing, what's this magical market value? Like what actually, where does it say? If you Google market value, what the fuck would it say? I'm confused by that.
I think it's just as like, what does a player like this cost in the current economic state of the league right now? Even though I don't agree with it, like you and I said, like you're not the best player in the league. Why should you be making the most money? Well, it's because I'm a really good player, and he's very good, right? Like he's
top 10.
top 5 in the league, yeah. What as a goal scorer, right? Like, you know,
he's probably the best goal scorer in the league.
Correct. And yeah, so we'll agree on that. Like he's an absolute an elite talent that you can't teach someone to do the shit that guy does on the ice.
But there's D-men who are better than him. There's goalies that are better that are more valuable. Like there's McDavid and McKinnon that are better than him. Like there's
so the Leafs have to just ask themselves, like, is our team better with him or without him? And then if we let him go, what do we do? Right? And if that's what it costs to keep a guy like that, I understand why they're like their hands are tied, and this is what you have to do to keep this kind of elite talent in your system, right? So I'm assuming like Calgary, the Flames would rather have Gaudreau and Tkachuk under long-term deals than playing in Calgary, right? and it was their choice, not it wasn't about money. Um, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do if you're going to try and be competitive. And so I'll tip my hat to the Leafs for trying to remain competitive. You won one series, and let's see if you can win two next year.
You
And
won one series, and that's like,
and then that's it, right? Like, but I don't know what else to say.
like you got, like you look at your, like eventually. I mean, at the end of the day, the owner signs off on this shit, right? No matter what, and they all go return on investment and all the metrics and everything else. And like a guy today that went first overall to Washington Nationals, I can't remember what year it was, but Steven Strasburg, he won a World Series, got the MVP, drafted first overall. They dumped a bunch of money into it. To me, they got, and they're going to pay him for another 3 years to not pitch because that's what his
Well, because
contract.
now he's hurt, right?
That's the way his contract was structured. But to me, that's a return on investment where you drafted this guy, you developed this guy, you won yourself a World Series. Yeah, you paid him $300 million or whatever it's going to be when it's all said and done. But that's a return on the investment. So many of these guys who go high and they just want to get paid, there's no return on this. Like you think about this is another thing that happened on, I think it was a Monday, where Trey Lance was basically called the third stringer in San Francisco now behind Sam fucking Darnold. Where's the return on investment on that guy? That they traded draft picks to get to number 3, I think it was, to Miami, and now he's out of the fucking system.
I saw the list.
They basically told him, you know what, you're not playing here ever again. And he played 2 games. What's that? 50 snaps.
Got hurt, and then now he's gone. Like and that's on Trey Lance. Like fuck it. Like I get it. Like that's a mistake the San Francisco 49ers might want back because you don't fucking trade up. And then I took a look at the list of A, players that were drafted after him, and B, players that were drafted with the picks that they sent away for him. And that's a huge fucking dick snap. Like this is on you, Trey Lance. Like I don't want to feel bad for Trey Lance whatsoever.
I don't.
They gave you the starting job last year over Gorgeous Jim, and then Brock Purdy is now there, and this, like, from what I understood, was like that it was an open competition between Purdy, Darnold, and Trey Lance
for the start
of this year, and now you're
on a team that is projected to maybe win Super Bowl. We'll insert player here. We don't care.
Right? Yeah. And Trey Lance, you're not a difference maker, and like, so now he's fucked. Like, where does he go? Like, what do you do? Like, if Shanahan can't make it work with you, that means you're either uncoachable or
you're not that good.
Or you're not that good, but he must have the physical tools, otherwise you don't get drafted. But you just become, I guess, uncoachable. That's what I think. Someone like that, like, who has all the tools but no toolbox, like he's kind of a Kyler Murray. But like, I don't know how the fuck Kyler Murray got to hold San Francisco. How Phoenix. He got to hold Arizona with a gun to their head. Like, you're fucking shitty, but you didn't make it to the last year, and you had a good coach who knows you're shitty, and he's just gonna let you go now. So
see, this is where I think that baseball and hockey get it right, more so hockey than baseball, but where baseball and hockey get it right compared to the NBA and the NFL is that when a kid gets drafted, they have a chance to either go back to the minors or not the minors, like in NHL, they can go back to their junior team, right? Unless you're in college, and they'll find you a junior team to play for. So unless you make the big club, and most of the guys, if you're not a first rounder, if you're not a top 10 guy, you usually go back to your junior team. And I think this is something that the NFL and the NBA has got to look at a little bit. Like, why not let these kids get drafted and then go back to their college? Because hockey, you can go back to college when you get drafted. So you can do the same thing with baseball. I think that college or football really has to look at that a little bit and go, okay, we want to draft this kid. He's good, but all of a sudden we're expecting him to jump into a situation where he's only had 7 starts because he probably didn't play as a freshman. He played X amount of games as a sophomore, and then as a junior, whatever. Like I think it's something that the NFL's really got to look at. Like these kids get thrown into it, and then they're just disposable. Like, well, no, he's shitty, because they don't get a chance to even play. Because a lot of them don't.
I agree. Like NFL, which I do believe is the single hardest sport to play on a day-to-day basis. They get no seasoning. You're done with college,
You're in, out, done.
And then, like, you get drafted in the NFL, now it's fuck or walk. And you know, that's kind of unfair for 22, 23-year-old men, right? It really kind of is, because you don't understand what is going on over here. And you know, like in hockey, like we
all
both
the stuff.
know.
The stuff.
Yeah, all the stuff. You can get drafted, but you can get drafted and still not suit up for your drafted team, like, until 3 years down the road to actually make your NHL debut. Whereas in the NFL,
this season, obviously, with Connor, like, let's say Connor Bedard, for some reason gets to camp and says, I'm like, he, in his own ears, I'm just not ready to go. I'm only using Bedard for people who don't, like, not hockey followers who listen to our show. And they're like, yeah, you aren't ready. Like you're a smallish kind of guy.
And then what is 10 games, and then they can send him back
and
to
then
Regina.
he can go back to Regina Pass next year and get a little bit stronger and a little bit better and more confidence.
Yep.
Whereas the NFL, you get drafted, that's it. You're done.
And same with the NBA.
Like once you declare, you're done.
You're done playing.
I wonder why
ball.
that is. It must be. It's a money. Everything's a money thing when it comes to professional sports at that level.
Some kind of money thing.
It's got to be a money thing where you're like, okay, well, now he has an agent, so now he's ineligible NCAA standards and blah blah blah. The way it goes, right? But that's something they really got to look at, because a lot of these guys, they get thrown to the wolves, and then they're just careers over before they can even start. Like Lance hasn't played, like, you think, since probably high school. How many starts has he had? Really?
I don't know where they drafted
30?
him out of, but yeah, maybe like in his
Since
college career. Yeah, and then he watched Gorgeous Jim play for a year, and then they gave him the start over Gorgeous Jim.
So since high school, you go 3rd overall. Since high school, you go 3rd overall, and you get 30 chances to show your shit, and that's it.
Yeah, and you get hurt last year, and
not
now,
even hurt. Well, he got hurt. Yeah, he got hurt. But
he got hurt last year, right? And so
you get drafted 3rd overall, 30 starts, and then you're done. Since high school.
Yeah,
that's
and now
fucked up.
Well, you know, and you look at Darnold though too, right? So, like, he failed with the Jets, he failed with the Panthers, and now he's beating you out for
Well, he is a USC Trojan, so and the Marlboro man's grandson, so I do understand that. Like, it's 100%.
Wow, you know, and I get that, you do get that, but you know that Trey Lance is probably making less money than fucking Aaron Donald,
guaranteed,
because he's still on his rookie contract. So, like, to show up and do that bad, like, I don't get it. I don't understand if this is just an absolute failure on the Niners not knowing what they were drafting, or is this a failure on Trey Lance for not putting in the work?
But to be so sure of that draft pick, to trade up to get it, that's like, I'm not going to pretend I know everything about the Trey Lance saga and who they got and what they blah 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 and who got traded for everything else. But for the organization to be so sure of that draft pick, to trade away other players, to take a kid who played 2 games and that's it, that's a fuck up organizationally. Huge. Because when you take a guy 1st round, you want, like, you would hope, especially top 5 in any sport, you hope to get what the Washington Nationals got with Steven Strasburg, a world championship, and a guy who fucking was a big part of a world championship. That's why you draft guys like Sidney Crosby 1st overall. That's why you get guys like fucking McDavid to hope that it happens there. That's why you drafted Austin Matthews first overall. But for because that's what you want your return on investment to be. And for this to go so sideways for the 49ers, that's a fucking, they don't care. They'll just throw money at it, he'll go away. But it's a bad. Like, it's just it's a fucking. It's just that's one of the bigger swing and misses in recent history in my eyes.
Oh no! You know what's a bigger swing and miss by I think is like
Alexander Digg.
No, I was going to say Mitchell Trubisky with the Chicago Bears. They traded up to get him, and the Bears fucking failed ridiculously. I don't understand how NFL teams trade up to get quarterbacks because none of this shit is fucking real. Ryan Leaf, Jamarcus Russell, Drew Rosen, and then
out of the league.
And then Kyler Murray, and then like just pick your fucking poison, right? Like there's washed up top 5 quarterback picks all over the league, and then all over the place. And you have Patrick Mahomes, who went after Trubisky, who went after Lamar Jackson was in that same draft, I believe, too.
He went after our main man, fan of the Ben, his favorite guy from Cleveland there. What's his name?
Oh, fuck.
I promise I wouldn't say his name ever again on this show.
Watson.
Yeah, Watson.
Yeah.
He went after Mahomes went after Watson that year. Whoops.
You know, and
I mean, the draft's a fucking crapshoot. Like, unless you have a generational guy.
I would never trade up for a fucking quarterback.
Never.
Like, what's a generational guy, right? Like, so that one year, like, it was Andrew Luck and Marcus Mariota and Vince Young. Like, Vince Young bust. Marcus Mariota, better guy, so he got to hang out. And then you got Andrew Luck, who fucking balled. He was a fucking baller, but he had a team that didn't want to give him a fucking line and beat him into submission. And he said, "Fuck it, I'm out."
I fucking hate Vince Young. 2005 Rose Bowl. I fucking hate you, Vince Young. But whatever.
Yeah, and then you have Matt Leinart, right? Like he was a bust as well. And he
dropped down the draft, but yeah, he would have won a Heisman. They probably could have won 2 if it wasn't for his teammate Reggie Bush that year. And Bush got himself in trouble this week. Not trouble, but he's trying to get his Heisman back. But yeah, the draft is such a crapshoot. We talk about it all the time. Like it's such a crapshoot, and to draft a quarterback
you don't know what you're getting.
And if you don't draft a quarterback with the guy that you've already got, right? Whoever your starter is, if you don't draft a quarterback, you have to revamp your entire team to go with what that quarterback is. Right?
Yeah. That's the other thing too.
We talked about this it might have been a year ago when talking about drafting guys, this and that. And I said, I wouldn't take the best quarterback all the time, because then we got to change our entire fucking structure because that guy's the best athlete. Like, no, like you need, this is what you're spending $180 million on the rest of your team. We're not going to bring in some punk kid that can fucking run as fast as everybody else. I'm going to bring in, I'll have fucking Jake Winters as a quarterback, but if we need a wide receiver, he might be ranked 5th in the draft. But if that guy's putting us over the top, I'm going to take him. That's how I would do it personally. And that's just a football thing. But I think and baseball drafting takes a while. But with hockey, like your generational guys, if I need a fucking goalie who's really good, I wouldn't put a goalie in there. But like if I need a fucking a D-man who can run a power play right now, and I can't get anything in free agency, I'm drafting that D-man who can run me a power play that might get us a Stanley Cup. I'm not going to draft the best player available just because the hockey news tells me so. That's my you know what I'm getting at? Like it's
I know what you're getting out. Like as an Oilers guy, like Jesus Christ, they haven't drafted an elite D-man in 15 fucking years. And there's been elite D-men that have been drafted in the last 15 fucking years. Like why aren't you trading for the Cale McCarr? Why aren't you trading for the Drew Doughty? like a
Like,
Seth Jones. Like I'm like
to
I
trade,
don't
and
know.
like you said, to trade up for a quarterback to me is just so it's just because
It,
he's the
it,
best.
you're just
Okay,
rolling the dice.
it ain't
You
helping
don't know
us
what
any.
the fuck is going on.
We drafted one 4 years ago. What the fuck's doing us?
Yes, like I don't know.
Like all these, and that's what drives me nuts about football, Dave. If you want to fucking get into it, that's what drives me nuts about football. You have all these football guru coaches' minds that are so great. If you're so fucking smart, why isn't every team fucking doing better? Why isn't that
Because
quarterback better? Like all these, hey coach, hey coach, hey coach. Like it drives me that they bolt themselves up to such an elite level to be such fucking ninjas of the sport, and none of them do fuck all.
there's so much. Yeah, there's so much. I think there's so many. On
There's a lot
the
of dick swingers, but not many dicks being fucking hit. Like it's
Well,
fucking
it's the dick swingers, but it's the good old boys. Like you're hiring this guy, who's hiring this guy, who's
yeah.
hiring this guy, right? Like it's the biggest of good old boy network, and it's just like, well, fuck, it ain't working, but like he listens to me, like anyone that wants to think that Mike McCarthy is an elite coach, like with Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, like he was laughed, like everybody's laughs at him, like Jesus fucking Christ, this is your guy, like Jerry Jones is just like he's the Mike McCarthy is the Brett Boone of the NFL.
Aaron,
He's gonna listen to the owner,
Aaron,
whatever.
yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
Brent has a
He's gonna
podcast.
listen.
He's fucking a lot more successful than Aaron is right now.
But yeah, it's a goofy thing. It's a goofy thing. I don't understand it, and like how they get it wrong all the fucking time,
All the time.
especially like and like a Shanahan, right? Like you like he's this Trey Lance is so different. He's a mobile quarterback in like similar to Deshaun Watson, similar to Lamar Jackson, right? But then he has
But if
gorgeous
that's
GM
not the
and then
system you
Brock.
have, then what good is
Why
it?
are you drafting him? My exact point. Like I don't understand how they missed like that, and then like maybe they were expecting him to be so elite and so good that they could change their entire philosophy on the offensive side of the ball. But if he I don't
But
know
that's what I'm
why.
getting at. These coaches are so set in their fucking ways, and they're like, "Here, my system is fantastic. I can put anybody in here." No, you can't. It's not the way it works. Because that
Yeah.
lineman has to move that quick. That linebacker has to do this. This guy has to do that. That guy has to fucking blah, blah, blah. And these fucking guys think they're so fucking smart. Oh, put anybody in here, you can win. No, you can't. You can't. It's not the way it works.
Well,
And
if we
I'm
had a
just a
mobile
fucking
quarterback,
49-year-old schlub in my basement talking about that.
I don't get it. But you know what? The goofy thing is, San Francisco is still an elite team. I think they're going to make the Super Bowl this year. Like
Well, that's just the thing. Like there's a good chance
it,
that they're gonna I don't watch the preseason shit, and I don't watch fucking anything until probably next week. I'll start paying attention when I got to start doing the survival pools and stuff like that. But yeah, fuck, man, like it's funny how they draft picks miss every year and no one lose their jobs. Like draft picks fucking
every year,
don't do anything, and they fucking and it's just fine.
especially in the top fives, right? When you're trading up for quarterback, specifically quarterbacks, right? Like I
Never.
don't, I don't, I get it, Trevor Lawrence. If you're struggling and you're fucked, then I get it. I get it. Take the Heisman winning quarterback. I get that, but like, don't trade up to like the. I don't
I
get
would,
it.
you know what? Like I like I'm a college guy through and through. It starts week 0 this week, which is stupid because 0 is not a number; it's lack of a number. But
Notre Dame and the Irish
Navy,
are,
yeah, and
Navy are playing in
USC's got
Ireland this weekend.
yeah,
Yeah,
USC's got San Jose State in week 0. Like it's week 1. That's how you count. Like it's one.
yeah, it's the first game.
I don't know if I would ever if I was gifted a NFL franchise, if I would ever take a Heisman Trophy or winner first overall. I'm just one of those things. I don't think I would.
I don't think you could, right?
It
Because
doesn't
it's
turn out very well ever.
rarely.
Yeah.
You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. More Beer with the Sports Talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.